What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So just let me let you know that just in case you hear any birds chirping, I am recording this outside, so there's some birds around and the wind is blowing. It's just a beautiful fall day today, so I'm trying to enjoy the weather a little bit while I'm working as well. And I'm going to try my best to get this video up the night before the election because we got the grand old 2024 election coming up. And I got to say, this year, more than ever, is just like that classic poster from Aliens versus Predator where they said, no matter who wins, you lose. That's exactly what I feel like when it comes to this election. I mean, you got Trump versus Kamala Harris. So on one side, you got the Lace Front Wearing Tangerine. And on the other side, you got the Cackling Curry Queen, right? It's like, who do you want to vote for? Which pile of crap do you want sitting on top of you for the next 4 years? That's basically what it is, right? You know, do you want a soggy poop sandwich or do you want one that is hard and crusty poop sandwich? How do you want your poop sandwich this next 4 years, right? And, you know, I can't act like I'm even excited. I will be happy when it's over. I've made that known already on this channel. I'll be very happy when this election is finally over and, you know, people stop acting so goddamn insane. Because it's always interesting to me that every time an election comes up that you'll have people who have been friends for years or people who are family members, and you guys will love each other for 4 years straight. But as soon as an election comes up and you have a disagreement about who should be the next president, you'll be fighting and arguing and, you know, cussing at each other and not talking to each other. It's like you're falling out with your friends and your family over some people who don't give a shit about you. Some people who don't give a damn about what happens to you tomorrow. They just want your vote, right? And after that, you can go jump off a bridge somewhere for all they care, as long as they got your vote. Matter of fact, you can go cast your vote that day, that morning. Go cast your vote, and in the afternoon, blow your brains out, and they won't give a good goddamn, right? They won't piss on you if you're on fire. But you're getting all twisted up and arguing and fighting and fussing and getting depressed and getting angry with yourself or your family members, and it's just ridiculous, right? This is one of the reasons I really don't even talk with my own family about politics at all, right? I'll talk to like my wife about it maybe, and maybe once in a while I'll talk with my dad because he's a little bit more reasonable than most. But everybody else is kind of like, you know, the only person I was ever able to talk politics with was my grandfather because he had a better understanding of it, being that he was a military man, right? So he was always extremely straightforward with how he saw politics, right? He didn't trust anybody, and he understood that no matter who's in the White House, they can always throw some bricks on top of your head or just throw you off into combat somewhere, and it doesn't matter. He was in the military under Democrats and Republicans, right? and neither one gave a damn, right? So he understands. And plus, once again, my grandfather was of that age where he was raised in the Jim Crow segregated South in Alabama, so he really knows. He really understands, or I should say understood, white supremacy. He's gone now, but God rest his soul. And I'm glad I had him with me to sort of teach me what the reality of all this was, right? And I remember, like, even when I was like in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s, where George Bush Jr. was the president, my grandfather and I would have like these long conversations where we just kind of talk and joke back and forth and tell jokes about politicians and whatnot. And that that was fun for me because obviously I've been around my grandfather since I was a child. Like my earliest memories of him are of him and my grandmother. But you know, when I got older, being able to sit and talk with him and him actually feel cool with using bad language around me now that I was an adult, I just thought I took joy in that. Because he obviously he didn't cuss in front of us when we were little, but once I became an adult, he thought it was all to the good, and he would let it fly, and we just sitting there chatting. I'd be sitting there laughing and going back and forth and talking about politicians and stuff like that. So I do miss that. I miss that a lot. And I kind of wish he was here now to see some of the mess that's going on with Trump and Kamala Harris, because that's exactly what it is. It's a mess. And anyone who is trying to still smile and pretend that this is a legitimate election or this is like a legitimate political system, I feel bad for you. Okay? I drew these two pictures here showcasing Donald Trump and Kamala Harris as zombies, as kind of like my tribute to Halloween, but also my feelings about this election. But the truth of the matter is, the zombies come in the form of the people who are voting for these two fools here, right? If you are someone who takes these two seriously and would vote for them, you are the zombie yourself. You are the living dead. You just have given up on life and have given up on a future, and you've turned your brain off and go to the voting polls and support these two megalomaniacs here, right? And I just don't see where either side is going to be good at the end of the day, right? And it's been so ridiculous with this election cycle where they've tried so hard to get our vote with celebrities on both sides. Like, everyone has been criticizing the Democrats, and rightfully so, because Kamala Harris has done some of the most ridiculous campaign speeches and campaign rallies with these celebrities. The latest one was Cardi B. The Democrats literally had a whole rapper like Cardi B up there. They got this chicken head on stage, and she's sitting up there struggling to read and can't find her words, and they had to pass her phone so she could read it off her phone. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And they're playing her songs where they gotta bleep out the bad words and stuff like that, And it started. Kamala Harris kicked off her campaign with Meg Thee Stallion out there twerking in a blue suit. So it's like that's what they think of the American voting population, that we're easily swayed with some WAP, basically. Because Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion made that song called WAP, Wet Ass Pussy, right? So that's how they think of the American electorate. Now, on the other side, you got Donald Trump bringing out all the celebrities from the 80s. He's got Hulk Hogan out there, Ricky Schroeder. He had that little punk-ass racist comedian up there doing jokes and whatnot, doing little racist jokes. I'm surprised they didn't bring Don Rickles back from the dead to do some racist jokes, right? Or Joan Rivers, surprised they didn't try to resuscitate their old dead asses and do some racist jokes for the RNC. But yeah, like, you have Donald Trump trying to bring up that nostalgia with the 80s. Like I said, it was hilarious seeing Hulk Hogan up there. What you gonna do, brother, when Cracker Mania runs wild on you? That's what I was thinking. He didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. That's how I translated what he was saying, right? Because we all know Hulk Hogan is a vehement racist. He's a hardcore racist. He's been caught out there several times, right? And I don't care what all those other black wrestlers out there who kiss his ass and coon for him. I don't give a goddamn. Okay, Hulk Hogan is a racist old devil, no different than some of the other ones that exist out there. All right, he just has a tan and he has some extensions hanging out of his handkerchief on his head, right? I mean, him and Donald Trump will go together real great, right? They both got those nasty tans, and they both got the hair pieces. So I mean, they're perfect together. And Donald Trump really came to prominence in the 80s the same way as Hulk Hogan. So I mean, that's two sides of the same coin, basically. And truth be told, Donald Trump is a celebrity in and of himself, right? I mean, you talk about the Democrats bringing up all these celebrities, but on the Republican side, you literally have a celebrity running for president. And in fact, that is his entire cult of personality comes from the fact that he's a celebrity, right? It has really nothing to do with his policies or what he might do better for the country or what have you. It all has to do with the fact that people just worship him because of the cult of personality. They see him and they project whatever their feelings are upon him because of his celebrity status. That's basically all that is. Like that great song by In Living Color, Cult of Personality, where he says, I exploit you, still you love me. I'll tell you 1 and 1 makes 3. Right? That's exactly what it is with Donald Trump. And in that regard, he is very dangerous, but I mean, no more dangerous than any other politician. And to be totally honest, I feel that Donald Trump is probably going to win because the Democrats really dropped the ball during this election. They tried their damnedest with propaganda and shaming tactics, and their last ditch effort is we're trying to protect women. We're trying to protect women's rights, right? You got to go out there and vote for the women, which is nonsense because the Democratic Party and liberals don't give a good goddamn about women, certainly not about black women. I saw that Professor Black Truth talked about this on his YouTube channel, how so many black women are dying every year in the hospital. You got these black women who are going there for treatment or going there to give birth, and either the black woman is dying or their child is dying, and no one's saying anything about that. No one's trying to help these women. There's so many women that go in there and come out with a negative outcome or just don't come out at all, and no one gives a damn about them. So how are you protecting black women? How are you, trying to protect that person's life when they're dying in the hospital and having these overly negative outcomes way past their white peers? You see what I'm saying? That seems systematic to me. But you got these people, like I said, they're filling people's heads and using that. I guess they want to control women's bodies as a scare tactic. The truth of the matter is, and I'm not going to do a whole video on this because that video really, to do it properly, would take a long time. And the reason I'm saying that is because the whole argument with abortion and women's reproductive rights, that's a long conversation. It's not a soundbite, right? And I think politicians on both sides have done a complete disservice to that argument because it really, the government shouldn't even be involved in it. It's something that should be between, a woman and her doctor, based on her health and her issues, right? Because what we have now is two extremes. So when abortion was legal, you had the extreme of chicken heads and whoever going to just go ahead and kill their baby just because, right? Because they want to go on a vacation to Jamaica or Dubai, right? And a baby would get in the way of that. So you have one extreme of that. And now, on the other side of things, now that they've tried to outlaw abortion at the federal level, now you got women who have miscarriages or who have stillbirths, something that's a natural occurrence, being accused of crimes and whatnot. Or having to check in and be interviewed by police and all this other nonsense. So like I said, it's two extremes for a situation that is not as simple or as cut and dry or as black and white as people make it seem all the time, right? So in my opinion, this is something that these politicians and definitely these celebrities should stay out of. I thought it was real sickening the other day where they had Beyonce and Kelly Rowland marching out there with Kamala Harris talking about we gotta protect women and women's rights and women's right to have an abortion. So you literally have two women who are married with children who have traditional families coming out here and telling women that they need to abort and kill their children. You see how fucked up that is? So, excuse my language, but that's messed up. You got someone who lives a completely different opposite life, who's living that traditional lifestyle, but they're telling you to do something else. That's like these coonish, buffoonish rappers out there who basically live in the suburbs and have a nice family and have a wife and children, who are getting on record and telling your kids to shoot each other. That's how that is to me, right? So, you folks will let me know how you feel about this upcoming election. Let me know where you see things going. Who you think is going to win in this election? In my opinion, I think Trump is going to win, and probably not by a thin margin either. He's probably going to win by a lot, because Kamala is a terrible candidate. Let's just be completely honest about that. I went over that in the last video, so I'm not going to waste my time talking about it here, right? But me personally, I don't see myself voting for either one. I don't see myself lowering my own standards and my own dignity to vote for either of these pieces of trash. Okay? So, you folks can let me know how you feel about it. Let me know if you're even going to waste your time voting tomorrow morning, or if you're just going to stay home, watch cartoons or something like that. You're probably being way more productive doing that. Just being honest, right? Because I don't see how this is going to actually help anybody. I'll be glad when it's over. And if Trump wins, the only good side of that is, just like they did during the last Trump presidency, all these liberals and these Democrats will be so hyper focused on him that they'll ignore us for a time, right? They'll be a time, they'll be fighting so much infighting with white supremacy about who's going to control what, that for a time we'll be able to maneuver a little bit more freely. That was the only good thing I saw about the Trump presidency, really. But other than that, I really can't see anything good coming out of it. Just like I really don't see anything good coming out of Kamala being the next president either. But we'll see what happens. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. And this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.